Uh-oh, we got a whole line of stuff, which means I have something to show off. And I do. I've mentioned before in a couple of videos that I'm working on a survival data pack that's themed around combat, as well as just some miscellaneous changes throughout the game. And so I want to show off what I've got so far, and I want to encourage anyone in the comments who's got ideas for this pack to leave them in there, because I'm trying to make this pack very community driven, where we work together to create something that everybody ends up liking. Now, the first thing, you might have noticed this already, but the attack speed of an unarmed player is now going to be 2, as well as the damage. So you actually overall deal more damage, but it's sort of the same numbers. It didn't really make any sense to be able to punch 4 times per second, but only deal 1 damage, since mobs can only take damage twice a second. And you could see how it used to look if I just hold any other item. You could see it loads a lot faster. But yeah, I think this makes unarmed combat a bit more forgiving and a bit more powerful. But relating to attack speed and damage, some things have been changed. So axes are probably the weirdest tool in the game, not because of their usage, but because of what Mojang did to them in 1.9 with the combat update. As you can see with the wooden axe, we've got 7 attack damage, 0.8 attack speed. Okay, not so bad. And then stone axe is 9 and 0.8. Okay, we just skipped 8. And then iron is 9 and 0.9. Okay, we're changing attack speed now. And then diamond and netherite sit at 1 attack speed with increment damage like every other tool in the game. So what I did with the others is that their attack speed is all unified under 1, and their damage increments once per tier, just like every other tool and weapon in the game. And another tool that has had a makeover in the same regard are hoes, because the only difference between them has been attack speed. Again, having 3 or 4 attack speed really doesn't make a difference or matter, and I feel like these things should at least deal a little bit of damage. So they all are unified under 2 attack speed, which is the same as the unarmed fist, and their damage simply increments the same way. Now you may be wondering where gold is, and that's because I changed gold itself. The old values of gold are reflected mostly of wooden tools. They deal about the same damage. Maybe with different attack speeds, the axe is even weirder. And the total armor points is 11. I decided to change this so that it matches iron. Obviously the durability still sucks, but you can see here that the attack speed and attack damage is just the same as iron. Same thing with the armor, it's got the same protection as iron. I figured that makes gold a little more useful, but like I said, durability is going to be the same at 32. Speaking of durability, I have changed the durability slightly of all the different other tiers. I decided to put all of these under 2 to the exponent, so wood, it will now have 64 durability instead of 59, meaning it's double of gold. Stone will have a slight decrease in durability to be 128, which is double of wood. Iron will have a slight increase to durability to make it 256, which is double of stone. Okay, now this one's a little bit controversial, but diamond has been decreased in its durability to reflect that it is 6 times stronger than iron. But thankfully, netherite has been buffed to be 8 times iron, so it's actually gotten a bigger increase to durability. And in case you're wondering, mathematically, this all evens out to be actually the exact same as it was before. Speaking of durability, we've got a uniformity going on over here with the fishing rod, which normally has 64 durability. The carrot on the stick normally has 25, and then the warped fungus on a stick has 100. Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. So I just simply combined these all under the same 64 durability. It's not necessarily going to matter. I don't think anyone really cares, but it's just a little thing that cleaned things up in my mind. Speaking of uniformity and cleaning things up, this one's going to be a bit of a weird change, but I think it's cool, is that all the bottles currently have a bunch of different stack sizes and stuff. Honey bottles are 16, while enchanting, glass, and ominous bottles are all just 64, and potions of any kind have no stack size. So I decided to change this. Now everything related to bottles has a stack size of 4. This does mean that you can't use as many honey bottles in one stack. It's going to take up a little bit more space, but with these 3 right here, you usually don't have too many of them, so I wouldn't think this makes a big difference. Meanwhile, potions will now have a stack size of 4, which is huge as far as like being able to hold them all and use them. Because, for instance, you can take an entire brewing stand's worth of potions and put them all in one stack. Now, to note about this data pack, you have to put these in your hand in order for the stack size to change. So, for instance, this still has a stack size of 1, but as soon as I put it in my hand, it'll change to have a stack size of 4. That's just a limit with data packs. That's not something I wanted to do. I might mess with it later to see if I can change that, but for now, that's what you got to deal with. Thankfully, that weird behavior is limited just to potions. When it comes to weapons and armor and all the other things, those will be changed at the loot table and crafting level. So you'll be able to just get them in survival and you don't have to put them in your hand or anything. One thing to note is that with the give command and in creative mode, you'll still get the old values. So if you want them for whatever reason, you could still get them, but in regular game and survival, they will be the new values I've shown here. Another buff to potions is that drinking potions will now be consumed faster. As you can see, that's about a 1 second consumption time instead of about 1.5 seconds. So they're a little better and a little more useful in dire situations like in combat where you might actually need them. So combined with the increased stack size, I think this will make potions a lot more viable. And a change I made to lingering and splash water bottles. If you didn't know, these can already put out fire in a cross formation. That's the same as it has been. But the change now is that you can also put out 1 block of lava. It'll turn quickly into stone, and that's for both of these. So they could be used to just instantly put out lava if you don't happen to have a water bucket specifically. So I figured that would be a little nice quality of life feature that I decided to add just because. And another small quality of life choice that I made that has been done in mods and data packs alike before is that you move slightly faster on a dirt path. This incentivizes the use of shovels to make dirt paths as like an early game form of moving faster. It's only about 25% faster, so not anywhere close to what some late game options are. Now, I did save the biggest set of changes for the last, and I think you guys really like this, and that involves the Trident. So the old Trident, first of all, has 9 attack damage and 1.1 attack speed. I didn't need to change this, and I might undo it just to make things easier, but I decided to uniform this under an even decimal value, so it's got 1.2 attack speed but 8 attack damage. So you can attack a bit faster with it, but it doesn't deal as much damage. The DPS overall is pretty much the same though. Additionally, the Trident has been classified in the item tag as a sharp weapon, meaning that it can now be enchanted with Sharpness, Bane of Arthropods, and Smite, as you can see. Additionally, I made the Trident repairable with Prismarine Crystals, so if I just go ahead and wear down some durability and survival, and if I go into the anvil here, you can repair it with Prismarine Crystals. However, the biggest change to the Trident by far is going to be related to loot. So currently in the game, the only way to get a Trident is through a drown, which has a very low chance to actually spawn with one, and an even lower chance to actually drop it if they have one. And there is one more way, which is just through the 1.21 update. You can actually get them in trial chambers, but to me, this never really made any sense. They were introduced in the aquatic update along with many structures that are related to the ocean and water and stuff, but none of them have the Trident as a loot table drop. With that being said, I actually removed them from the trial chambers, but I added them to 4 different chest loot tables. That is both underwater ruins, buried treasure, and shipwrecks that have a treasure chest. So for example, if I spawn in a shipwreck here, this one does have a treasure chest located right here. Let's see if we get a Trident, and we did. Now it's not a guaranteed chance, and the other structures actually have a pretty low chance. I might increase that if it's too low to actually feasibly get in survival. Anyways, that's what I've got for you in this first beta version of the data pack. As you can kind of see, most of this so far has been focused on improving some basic things, adding some quality of life, as well as just cleaning up the mess that Mojang just put in this game without cleaning up themselves for years, such as with the aquatic update, for instance. I think that was a huge one. So of course, if you've got some ideas you want me to add, then go ahead and leave in the comments below. And if you have any friends that you think will have cool ideas, be sure to share this video to them as well. But before I end this video, I want to talk about some ideas that I also have for this pack that I haven't implemented yet, but I plan to have in future updates. Now, a couple videos ago, I did mention some ideas I had for this data pack, including interacting with some blocks and entities, as well as things like elytra wing flapping, and I did mention some changes to the fledging table I wanted to add. But as far as some other changes go, one of them is I wanted to add some throwable rocks, or like throwable stones that deal damage, and they kind of work like snowballs. Currently in the process of trying to make it work. It's not easy to make it all work perfectly, but it's definitely something I thought would be cool. So that way you wouldn't necessarily need a weapon, and you could probably get these rocks with using a pickaxe and grinding up some cobblestone or something. I also want to improve combat a little bit in some ways, such as maybe adding a possible shield bash attack. I was also wanting to explore some new usages for the Echo Shard, since it currently just turns the compass into the recovery compass. Maybe make some usages with other items or blocks. Additionally, as some quick fire ideas, maybe some changes to enchantments, because there are some that definitely underperform nowadays. Maybe allowing beacons to be powered by copper. That would be kind of cool. Possibly the stone cutter, able to cut a lot more than just stones, such as with the wood cutting data pack and things like that. Changing it to possibly a cutting table. And some changes to furnaces that I've done in a previous data pack, but I think need to be brought to the game through this one. Anyways though, that does it for this video, and I'll see you all next time.